Hey guys, welcome to my tips for learning Korean. A lot of you guys requested this video. You're curious about how I was learning Korean or if I just had any tips. And this video is in consideration for those that are living outside of Korea learning Korean and also for those that are living in Korea learning Korean. Let's get started! Okay, tip number 1, and it's the most important basic foundational tip. Learn how to read hangul. Don't learn Korean through reading like romanized versions of expressions or things or words. I just think romaji, like romanization, is the ugliest thing and like you're not gonna get the sounds right, so please learn how to read Korean and just get it down. There's a variety of resources, there's books, there's the internet. Just read everything you can. For those that are in Korea, this is going to be a lot more easier for you to do. You're just walking around or on the bus or, just even read your receipts, read books, signs, everything. Read anything and everything. For those that are living outside of Korea, again, there's a bunch of online resources. You can also go on naver.com. Naver.com is basically like Korea's version of Google. And on Naver, you can find a bunch of blogs, there's articles, everything is in Korean, so you can practice reading. Another great resource for practicing your reading is downloading the Naver Webtoon app on your phone. And it's an interesting way to practice reading since everything is in comic format. So you're basically scrolling through comics and can practice reading Korean that way. You can also just look up the lyrics to your favorite Korean songs and practice reading. Once you've got hangul down, you can move on to more of the basics. So your common nouns, your common verbs, basic grammar structure, numbers, that sort of thing. For me, I actually took a Korean class, an intro Korean class, to get all of these basic things down, and I highly recommend that. If you take a class on the fundamentals of things, it can allow you to learn even more and put further knowledge on top of the foundational things that you already have. Take a class if you can. If you can't, there's so many online resources. A good one is Talk to Me in Korean. There's also How to Study Korean. The internet is your friend, seriously. Another tip I have is getting books. Get Korean workbooks. Buy books that are in Korean so you can practice your reading too. A good Korean workbook that I bought that I mentioned in my fall favorites video was Survival Korean. And this book is good for those that have a basic level of Korean and already know how to read hangul and sort of basic grammar structure. And for those that are English teachers in Korea, check out books at the school library. And this is something that I do a lot. And even just like basic books, when you learn new words, learn a lot of new things. And going back to Korean songs and lyrics, once you're able to actually read the lyrics in Korean, you can then move on to actively listening to the song and picking out words that you might know. Be like, oh, I know that word, or like I can understand like this part a little bit. And what I like to do is I will print out the lyrics in Korean and I'll print out the lyrics in English. And then I will go back and forth between both. And in doing this, I've learned a lot of new vocabulary. I'm better able to like understand things in the song when I listen to it again and again. I'll listen to it this time and then I can understand some things, and then I'll listen to it again another time and I can understand even more things and more and more and more. And going off of music, I'm sure a lot of you watch Korean movies, Korean dramas. Now the tip I have in regards to dramas is instead of just watching the drama and reading the English subtitles, is you have to actively listen to what they're saying. And this is a bit of an intermediate level, because of course it's going to be really hard to listen to what they're saying when you don't actually know certain words or things. What I do is I will listen to what people are saying, and if there's like a word or expression that I think is interesting or that I want to remember, I'll write it down. So I have a notebook actually of expressions or things or words that I've heard in dramas that I was like, oh okay, cool, I can probably use that. For example, 점점 좋아지고 있어요. Okay, maybe this one's kind of bad, but I thought it was really funny. 내가 싹 다 죽여버린다. And this idea I got from being a teacher and having my kids listen and repeat to like dialogues and videos and stuff. So what I do is when I'm watching a drama, I will try to repeat after whatever they say.
그런 거라도 있는 겁니까? 명예롭지 못한데 좋은 거?
좋은 거?
어이 거기 형님들!
어이 거기 형님들!
근데 여기 있으면 난 어떡하지? 어디 가십니까?
어디 가십니까?
한 선배가 그럽니다.
그럼
군인은 늘상 수의를 입고 산다.
군인.
이름 모를 전선에서 조국을 위해 죽어갈 때 그 자리가 무덤이 되고.
Another tip I have that's fun for me, I enjoy it, is doing 노래방 or karaoke, but they don't say karaoke or karaoke here in Korea. It's 노래방. So if you're in Korea, it's super easy because there's a bunch of 노래방 places. So just go and sing Korean songs. You know, it'll help you with your speed of reading Korean on the screen. And if you're not in Korea, that's totally fine. You can look up karaoke, 노래방 on YouTube. Any song that you want, just look it up, look up the Korean song. It'll probably be there. Alright, here we go. 너의 그 한마디 말도 그것도 나에겐 커다란 의미. 어둠 속에 네 얼굴 보다가 나도 몰라 눈물이 흘러서 소리 없이 나. You're still my number one. 날 찾지 말아줘. 날 슬프게 여줘. 저 구름 위에 너를 슬프게 안아줘. 그라는 이 기분이 내 눈물을 막게. Another tip that I have, and you guys might think I'm joking on this one, but I'm completely serious. Talk to yourself. Like when you're around the house or just doing random things. I actually do this a lot. In English, I also talk to myself, so I don't know, maybe I'm weird, but just do it. Just try it, okay? I'll make up random songs or chants sometimes when I'm just doing random things around the house. It helps me. It helps me because I'm like speaking and 지금 요리하고 있어, 요리하고 있어. 참기름, 간장, 소금, 그리고 후추. 자, 양파. 오, 뜨거워. 어우, 냄새. 마늘 어디 있지? 아, 여기 있구나. Now these next tips are more for those that are living in Korea. I think a lot of people are under the impression that just because you're a foreigner living in Korea, that you can easily learn the language. And I think that's false. Yes, it will be easier for you to learn the language than those that are not living in Korea, but it's still hard. There's a lot of foreigners that have lived here for years and they're at the basic level still, at best. So just because we're living in Korea doesn't mean that we're going to be really, really good at it. In order to get to higher and higher levels of your language skill, you have to actively be learning it. This is hard. It's hard. Even though you're constantly exposed to the language, you're always seeing it, you're always hearing it, you just want to shut it out. It's not your language and it's confusing, and so you naturally just don't want to have anything to do with it. That's a lot of foreigners' natural responses, and it's totally understandable. For the average person, it's really, really hard to actively learn. So when I first got here to Korea, for like the first month or two, it was still the honeymoon phase. So I was totally excited about using the basic Korean that I knew, trying to speak it as much as I could to Koreans, and it was fun. But then after that honeymoon phase was over, I started feeling smaller and smaller in this foreign country, and I sort of lost my confidence to even use Korean at all. So instead I would try to push it away because of just embarrassment or a lack of skill, or like I wasn't worthy to use Korean just because I was so bad at it. The most common sentence that I used was 모르겠어요. 모르겠어요. To people that were speaking to me in Korean, like at a store or just, like random people. But now, instead of immediately saying 모르겠어요 or like 한국말 잘 못해요 or 외국 사람이에요, that would be like my immediate response at first for a while. But now, instead of just immediately saying like I don't know, I don't understand, I try to listen. And I push myself to keep my ears open, even catch, like some words and I can understand what they're saying, or sometimes I can understand 100% what they're saying. And then from there, I can respond to them in Korean. So it's a step-by-step process. And I've learned to like not be so hard on myself when I didn't respond correctly or didn't understand somebody, because I took it so hard on myself. Sometimes still, I will respond to somebody's question with a completely irrelevant response. And it's funny. Instead of beating myself up about it, I will just kind of laugh it off later. It's just something that you learn and become stronger with through experience, through many, many experiences of messing up and then just learning from it. When I said in the beginning to try to read everything that you see in Korean, read everything, read signs and read everything, you can move on to actively listening to everything around you, listening to just random conversations between people on a bus, at a train station, anywhere. Actively listen to your co-teachers' conversations when they're speaking, meetings, teacher meetings, or in class, your co-teacher is speaking to the kids, try to like understand what they're saying. In the beginning, I couldn't really, but now when my co-teacher is explaining things to the kids in Korean or giving them directions or just saying anything, I can understand what they're telling the kids. And that is something that I had to take step by step as well and learn through the year that I've been here. And you can learn from your kids as well, especially the younger grades. They can't really converse in English, so instead I will talk to them in Korean and practice with your students. Yeah, so you have to really take those opportunities and make those opportunities to be an active listener and an active participant in the language in order to increase your level. A big part of learning Korean is knowing your own strengths. Writing was always my strongest skill, and then followed by reading. And from there, I know what I need to focus more on in order to bring my different skills to the same level. So that's a very important thing. Know yourself, know what will keep you motivated. I'm kind of a perfectionist and I want to make sure I'm getting the sounds perfectly. Yeah, sure, I can be able to like pronounce something, but then my fluency and being able to actually like communicate and get out my thoughts suffers. So for that, I have a great language exchange partner these days. They're doing a really good job in pushing me to just spit it out, just say what I want to say and work on like my speaking and my fluency. So just to sum things all up, when it comes to language learning, especially for those that didn't acquire a language naturally or natively as they were growing up, the secret is that there is no secret. It's just hard work, constant studying, constant exposure, putting yourself in situations that are awkward or uncomfortable. It's hard. It's really, really hard. There are times where I'm just like, I give up. I don't want to learn Korean anymore. It's too hard. I'm never gonna get fluent. Gotta take the time you need and get back up again and keep studying. Believe in yourself, you know, you can do it. So if these tips were of any help to you, be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And leave me a comment if you have any of your own tips for learning Korean or if you have any more questions for me. Good luck. 화이팅!
어서 와. 방탄은 처음이지? 포세대 5포세대 그럼 난 6포가 좋으니까